Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Don't Worry
How's everybody
Wednesday.
doing?
What's that?
How's everybody doing?
Oh, they're looking real good tonight. Can't you see?
Yes.
Wait, I'm Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Yeah. You know what? The Matrix is one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. I haven't seen the new one yet, though. I've heard mixed reviews. How about you, Kyle?
Yeah. I love the old movies. I really haven't had any desire to watch the new one. I kind of want to leave them where they're at. I thought they were great.
They were.
I don't want to mess up a good thing.
Right. I understand. I understand. Welcome, everybody. This is Don't Worry Wednesday. This is a show that is all about you guys and your topics, stuff you might be going through in your life, whether you have a challenge going on or a struggle or just some kind of situation that you're having some trouble navigating. We would love to talk about it. You can post if you have a question or if you have a topic you want us to talk about, you can post it right there in the chat. Or you can go to our website, don'tworrywednesday.com, click the submit a topic button. Make sure that you say, yes, you are a human. If you're not, it will think you're a bot. So, yes. So, unless you identify yourself as a bot, which I guess is possible, then make sure you click yes, I'm a human. And that way you can actually submit the topic. Because there's a recapture there. But what if you're a ghost of a human, but not actually human? Well, you were at one point in time human? Would a bot have ever been a human, Kyle?
A bot?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it was probably created by a human.
Yeah, but like it would be a cyborg.
Oh.
So, right?
I see. That makes sense. So, yes. So,
I mean, I'm sorry to deny the robots out there their humanity, but just it's just the way it goes.
I'm sorry. What, Ash, what if you're a chicken nugget? You know, that's a good question. What if you're a cat? Well, cat, are you not a human? All right. You know what? Just click whatever you want in that box, I guess. If your topic gets to us, it gets to us.
Please note that if you do not, you may not get your topic processed at all or in a timely fashion. Thank you, from Princess.
Thank you, Princess. So those of you who I'm sure you've noticed now, Ryan is not with us tonight. We have filling in for him his brother Kyle. We have talked about him at length on this show numerous times because he's amazing, and he runs a lot of stuff at Black Static and Swerve, and we would be absolutely lost without him. But I'll tell you, it's an absolute pleasure to have him on the show. I've never done this show with you before, Kyle. I'm pretty excited to do that.
I know, yeah. Well, I'm excited just to be here. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it sure has. How have you been doing?
Oh, fantastic. Just like you, we're doing Black Static and Swerve full time now, so it's been amazing. Moving a lot of stuff forward. I do a lot of the back end, you don't ever see me kind of stuff, so but that's what I like to do,
Mm-hmm. If you want to see a great example of Kyle's handiwork, you can go to don'tworrywednesday.com and you can enjoy the look and beauty of the website.
Well, the look and beauty, I wouldn't say so much as what I did, but the fact that it functions might be.
Yeah. Well, you were involved in the look and the beauty too, because you had to put it all together. As there was a handful of us sitting there together, when we were putting that together. But you did a lot of the clicking and moving
Sure.
and shaking and all that stuff. It was great. But yeah, so feel free, you guys, once again. I didn't do the legal disclaimer. We are not professional therapists or counselors or anything like that. We're not a substitute for professional counseling. A lot of times we recommend professional counseling. I be a counselor myself, and it's very, very beneficial. So if you're having some kind of a challenge that you're having a struggle with, having some trouble getting through, do not hesitate to reach out to a professional counselor. They know what they're doing most of the time. Every once in a while, I've heard of some bad ones out there, but it only takes a few meetings to figure out if you got a good one or a bad one or not, and you're always free to switch. But yeah, they can really help make heads or tails of whatever it is you're going through and what's going on in your mind as well. They're trained to know that stuff, and it's pretty cool. So anyway, wow, you guys are awesome. We got some topics here that we could go through, I think. Do we not?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
Oh, yeah.
All this crazy stuff. We got all this crazy new stuff. I'm looking at new production stuff, and I totally forgot. Princess, how are you?
I'm good. You don't have to ask me every time.
I do have to ask you every time. And it
Well, I
doesn't matter
appreciate
that I asked you 20 minutes ago when we got onto the call.
I am well, and yes, we do have some topics.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm going to go through the list of topics here. Or actually, I'm just going to go through the list of names on the topics. And if you hear your name, you can let us know you're here, and we'd be happy to do your topic. If you're not here, we might do your topic anyway. Just fun, because that's how we roll. But anyway, all right, here's the list. Sparrow, Amira, Nihilus, Wandering Soul, Baka, Ash. Wait. Did we do that one already? Sharing personal information? Oops. Okay. Saule, Anonymous, and Logan. And is that last one on there? Is that an anonymous one? Or is that one not? The one that's
There's an
31?
anonymous and there's a Logan.
There's one that says the topic is 31.
Are you looking at the right
Okay, so
thing? Because it shouldn't exist.
I'm gonna hold on.
I'm looking at the host screen.
You're looking at it. So I messed up the filter. I apologize.
That's okay.
That's my fault.
I deleted it.
It should be gone. Yeah, that should be gone.
Oh well.
That was the one we were talking
Also,
about before.
the Ash one is marked correctly.
Right. That's the one that I'm saying that I messed the filter up. That shouldn't be on here, but for some reason it is. So I apologize.
Okay. No worries.
I'm gonna make it go away.
Technological difficulties. Thank you for bearing with us, Chad.
Yes, thank you guys for being patient as we figure out all this newfangled, wonderful, amazing stuff that makes our lives easier once we figure it out. You ever have something like that that's supposed to make your life so much easier, but then you don't know how it works, and so it makes your life really hard for a while? I've had that numerous times where that's been the case, but cool. So all right, so I see Ole, I think. Yep. Yo, what's up with your mom and dad in the chat? Yeah, Kat, happy birthday. You're awesome. I think 21, right? If I saw on Discord correctly. Wait, maybe I'm not supposed to put ages. But you shared it publicly on Discord, so. Apologize. But anyway, thank you guys so much for being here with us. Saule, I saw that you're here, so
Baka's is older.
Oh, is Baka here?
Unless they just left.
Oh, I see the word box there. I'm sorry. Once again, man, you know what I gotta do? This is gonna be way better. There we go. All right. So cool. Well, I say we start with Baka's. What do you say?
Oh yeah.
Like a plan?
Perfect.
All right. All right. So let's grab that one. This one's called Struggling with Time. And I will get the topic up there. And yeah, and then I'll put it on the screen for you. You can read along as Princess reads it aloud. So, Princess? Whenever
I'm
you're ready.
struck. Oh. I'm struggling to create more time to do more physical activity. With the time I already have, I've been putting in 10 times more effort, yet I want to get more physical time. It's also not helping having negative 35-degree Fahrenheit weather almost twice a week. The joys of Minnesota. Any tips to create more time for physical activity? From Baka.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the topic, Baka. And I'm with you, man. It can be pretty hard to get that time for some physical activity, and especially, man, I can't imagine negative 35 degrees. That is cold.
Ridiculous.
That is cold. I thought it was cold here in Michigan. I was wrong because it's way colder where you are. So, um, but yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I'm gonna turn it over to Kyle. Hopefully, I've given him enough time to think about this a little bit, and I can't wait to hear what he has to say. So, Kyle, whenever you're ready, take
Yeah.
it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Negative 35. I mean, that sounds cold enough where you could just go stand outside. And the fact that your body has to keep you warm is probably enough physical activity for months. But that's not a very safe option, I think. No, I don't know. I think I usually get my physical activity in with obligations. Um, I have a lot of work to do on my house. I've got or I had a job where I had to do a lot of work. Um, Physical work. So that was kind of where I did. Now that I'm sitting here at a desk more often, and it's a little bit harder. But one thing that not everybody probably would appreciate this. Something I've always done is when I'm going somewhere, I basically run. Like if I'm gonna even just like to go across the room to grab something, I don't walk. I usually run. And or like to go up the stairs, it's always running to get a drink. Half the time someone looks, they like, what's going on? What's wrong? It's like, oh, nothing, I just going where I'm going.
That's awesome. You're like Forrest Gump. Wherever you go, I was running.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm always, but I don't know. Part of just having that discipline to get up and do something is not something that I've ever had to worry about, right? Because I've always just had either a job where I had to be physical, or I move around a lot. I don't usually sit still. Even sitting here, it's very hard for me to sit still. I'm always moving my legs around, shaking around, doing this. Like I don't sit still. So I fortunately have not had to worry a whole lot about that. Now I could be a lot more fit than I am, but I'm not. I don't. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of experience with that, other than just a specific problem. But when we want to talk about just how to get up and do anything that maybe isn't the easiest thing in the world to get up and do, maybe just having that ability to drive yourself to go do something that's not that exciting. We could talk about that a little bit. One thing is just to, take a good look at the results. What are you looking for? And have that in front of you. What do you want to achieve? That way, you can actually have a goal that you're trying to run for, or make your activity fun. But I mean, finding the time to do something is only a problem when you don't want to do the thing that you're trying to find time to do. Everybody finds time to do certain things that maybe aren't productive. Watch a movie, play a video game, watch YouTube videos. Not necessarily productive. They're not bad things, but they're things that you kind of want to do and you found time to do them. It's the things that are difficult or that you don't want to do that you can never seem to find time to do. And I mean, that's the way I am. I've got a lot of stuff, like a list a mile long of stuff that I'm supposed to do. It's hard to get to it. So one thing that I've kind of, to get to some of those things, it's like I have to look and see, okay, how's it going to feel when I have this job done? And I can kind of think about that, and it's going to feel like this. And so I can kind of like, what I want is the feeling, right? Now here's something I want to do. Or how is this going to make somebody's life easier? What I want is to improve something for them. Well, that's going to, that idea might drive me forward. If you can find little things like that. Another thing is, with physical activity, it's one of those things where really we should, every day. It's not a one-time task, right? It's an ongoing thing throughout life. And it's ultimately for ourselves, right? So we can live longer, happier, better lives. It's that looking forward to what that life is like versus what life is like when you're not able to enjoy certain things because you can't do it, and that's making time is just a matter of finding enjoyment out of it in a lot of cases. And if it's getting tedious, you've just been doing it over and over and over again, look at past results. Sometimes that can help. Write a list down of, I did this yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before, and just write that down. And you have a big list of accomplishments. That can help too. It might make it not seem so bad anymore because you can see some of the results. It's easy to forget good results. So when you have them, write them down. Keep track of them. So that's about all I got. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, you're going to turn it over to me already?
I am. That's it.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know if I was ready for this.
Well, good luck. Well, what I will say is, here's the thing. Out of the two of us, you've done infinitely more, and I can say infinitely in reality because I've done basically zero of trying to partake in some sort of physical activity regimen. Like I have never tried to schedule that or make that happen. It's just been the product of my habits. So
Sure.
Go ahead.
No, I totally understand that. Baka, Princess had a great question. What's your goal for exercising? And I see that you have in the chat, you've answered, I want to get my mile run under 9 minutes and 30 seconds, yet also build strength and hold a weight. So some things you can do. Now, it really does. Like Princess's question was very, very very proper. It was very good to ask because that should really be your first question when you're entering into this. What do I really want to gain out of this? Because there are a lot of different workout programs. Some that are built for building strength, some for losing weight, some for gaining weight, some for increasing endurance. And what you'll find is, the workout regimen for a long distance runner is much different than the person who wants to enter like a Mr. Universe competition and, like look really ripped and cut and all that kind of stuff, right? And that person's workout regimen is going to be different than like what you hear the strongman competitions and stuff like that, because and you can really tell based on how their bodies look, how their bodies are built, that their regimens, their workout, their training, and their diet it's all completely different. So it really, really does depend a lot on what you want to get out of it. So as far as getting your mile run to be under 9 minutes and 30 seconds, what you're gonna have to do to accomplish that goal, I'm guessing, is you'll have to spend a fair amount of time practicing running, and I would run more than 1 mile at a time. So obviously, if you want to get your mile run, you're going to have to practice your mile. You're going to have to time yourself, see how you're doing, see how you're progressing and all that kind of stuff. And like Kyle said so well, keep track somehow. Write it down. If it's weight that's a concern, you can weigh yourself and then track your progress as you go. So those are some really good things to do. Most of the workout programs that I've been involved in, they have you check results every 2 weeks. So you train for 2 weeks and then you check your results. You check your weight. A lot of them have you take a picture of yourself, so you can have a visual of your progress. In your case with the mile, you could just time yourself and figure out, okay, how fast did I go? And then now you've got a starting point, and you can be like, all right, and now I'll train for a couple weeks, and then I'll do my best, and I'll see how much faster I got. If you're training for a 1 mile run, I remember this principle from swimming. When I swam the 500, which was the longest distance we had in high school when I swam, and so for training, they would have us swim 1000s or 2000s, so long distance to really get you used to that extended period, right? And so then when you come back and you do a 500, you can really push yourself a lot more because it's going to be over sooner, right? Now, another thing you can do if you want to get that mile faster is have somebody running with you, because I don't know what it is about having a person next to you pushing you. It always worked in swimming. When you were racing someone, you went faster. There was just some psychological thing that happens because this person's trying to beat you, or this person's trying to keep up with you. And so now you're going to try harder. And that was always the case. But if you're looking to build strength and manage weight, one of the best places you can go is to igorvoitenko.com. I know that's kind of a weird name, but this guy, Igor Voitenko, I stumbled upon his workouts a couple years ago, and he is about the best you can get for free. And in fact, I have paid lots of money for workout programs, and these are workout programs that you do at home with no equipment, and I spent money. And it was weird. It's almost like the more I spent on a program, the more likely it was that I would get injured. That's really weird. But this guy, Igor Voitenko, he, all of his workouts are on YouTube. And if you go to his website, he has schedules. He has a bunch of different workout programs that generally are about a month, long. And he just has a bunch of YouTube videos that you click on whatever day, and then you work out along with him in his video. And it's generally somewhere between 5 and 20 minutes that you're going to spend working out. So if you're looking to have more time for physical activity, I guess the question is, do you want to actually spend that time, or do you want to get results with the time you have? And in my case, that was what I wanted. I didn't have a whole lot of time to exercise. So I had to find programs that were like, I want to be done in a half an hour, because that's about all the time I have today. And so I would work out along with this program. I would find ones that were like 15 minutes long, 20 minutes long, maybe a half an hour but that was about my limit, because I didn't have time to be spending all day, focused on this, but I still wanted results. And so from what I've found, that guy has it nailed as far as getting the most bang for the time that you have and getting good results. So I would definitely check that out. Baca says, I have a lot of goals that I need to get for college PT. All right. There's going to be a requirement for physical training. I think if I remember correctly, are you going into law enforcement? Is that what you're planning on going into in college? Because I know if that's the case, then yeah, there's definitely a physical requirement, and they're gonna test you on that. So that's definitely gonna be an important thing to do. So, oh, Princess, you're awesome. Thank you for putting the link there in the chat. So you can click that and go to his website, and he'll have all kinds of stuff. He keep you busy for a handful of months. if you just rotate through his programs. But yeah, all right, cool. So I think Princess might have some stuff to say about this topic. So unfortunately, I don't have a screen where we can show Princess's lovely face. So you're just gonna have to look at me and Kyle while Princess talks. But Princess, if you're ready, at any time, um, you can feel free to go at it.
Yep, just waiting for you to finish.
Oh, I'm not done with my sentence. No, I'm done.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, so it really depending on what you're looking for is how you'll want to go about it. Again, if it's a matter of finding time because you want to just spend time doing physical exercise, that's going to be prioritizing. That's time management. That's going through your day and being like, okay, I'm going to do a little less fun time here, or I'm going to really focus on making sure that my dinner stays within like a certain amount of time and I'm not just lollygagging on that, you know, and finding time that way. Otherwise, a lot of the training that I've seen isn't necessarily just about time. Now, my mom has done a lot of triathlons. She's run even the Ironman, which you might not really know, but that's basically one of the biggest runs, at least where I live, is the Ironman, which
That's
is a
huge.
triathlon of swimming, biking, running. And it literally is like half a day of exercising straight or more, which, takes a lot of training. But there's a lot of training you can do that isn't that, you know. If you're doing long distance running, well, then you're going to want a particular regimen for that, right? You're going to want to know what you're training, what you're eating, and how you're resting, because you need rest. So don't just go gung-ho on trying to do all this exercising all the time, because if you don't give your body ample time to rest, then it's not going to be able to repair your muscle to make you stronger, right? So that's something important that I would keep in mind. There's also plenty of websites out there that'll talk at length about blogs they've done or things they've seen on different techniques you can do. This one seemed like a pretty good website you could check out if you're looking specifically for police related, getting into that, what they recommend for, becoming a successful police officer physical test taker. There's a website for that too. So there's resources out there. As for me, I'm someone who doesn't enjoy working out. It's not super fun. I've been dragged to the gym numerous times where we spend an hour or two because mom wants to work out, and I have to go on one of the lovely machines for at least a certain amount of time in order to pass the "you've done something" test. And that's how I saw exercising. It was, perhaps a little pathetic, but I just don't enjoy getting on a machine and just doing mindless leg work. I don't enjoy doing a whole bunch of arm work. And if I'm not doing it with something that really gets me engaged, I am not engaged and I won't do anything. Because I don't want to spend my hour doing that when I could be doing an hour of something else, whether that's fun time or homework or baking, you know. I want to do whatever, but I also know that for me, I need to get exercise in to be healthier, right? I want to be toned, I want to be fit, and so at least for me, I've found it's by Vince, some other workout person. With it is paid, so I mean, again. But if you're looking for something paid that makes results, I have seen results with this one, and it's been impressive because it's 15 minutes of my day, like 2 or 3 days a week. It's not a huge commitment of time, but it's been making results. So again, it really depends on what you're looking for. And for running, I'm sure that you'll need to do running, but it also means that you'll want to work your arms and you'll want to work your legs, and you're going to want to work your core as well, because it's going to take all of that to do that, right? And it's not just running, but it's doing other things to help build your body up. But I'm sure that these different websites or sources, or you could even look some of your own up, just looking up proper training for insert what you're looking for. That can go a long way to helping you find different recommendations on stuff you can do. And again, what works for people might not work for you totally. So you might have to modify. You might, if you're not in great shape, you might have to start low and build your way up. Understand that you're at a point and you're going to another point. There's a journey there, and you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be all out and going and destroy yourself either. You want to make sure that you pace yourself, because the results will come over time. It's not something you'll get overnight, but they will come if you stick to it and you eat plenty of rest and you eat plenty of good food and you don't eat too much and you eat balance of stuff, right? You need a balance of your carbohydrates, your fats, and your proteins. And there's plenty of dieting things out there that'll give you recommendations. A lot of them for free, if you are looking for that, or if you're looking for weight loss in particular, or even weight growth. I'm sure that they have different things that you can do that'll help you towards creating muscle or gaining, weight to you, or taking it off through different diets. But it's really the marriage between dieting and dieting it's not starving yourself. Starving yourself will not make you lose weight unless you've gone to such a point where you're at such a deficit where you're burning your muscle. You don't want that, I assure you. But if you eat at a right rate, you can get your body into that mode. So anyway, I have gone on for quite a while here, so I'm going to turn it back to Joe.
Oh, Princess, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Kyle, did you have anything more to say about this topic?
No, I think you guys covered it pretty well. You both have more experience than I do.
Well,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I think if I was going to consolidate, figure out your goals and find a good program that'll help you get there. Someone with results, right? So that you can see a picture of what you want and it works. Get some recommendations and then go for it. If that's what you're trying to achieve, and then if the problem is you just can't bring yourself to do it because you can't find time in your day, then find a way to make it fun.
Yeah, that's so true. If you're enjoying yourself while you do it, or if you are seeing results, that can definitely motivate you to go, and to keep going. I like what Kat said in the chat. Every day it gets easier, but you got to do it every day. And while exercise is one of those things, I mean, you can do it every day, but if you're working really hard trying to build muscle, you do have to give your muscles, certain muscle groups, a break, before you work on it. So I have an exercise program where I work out 6 days a week, but each of those days I'm working different muscle groups. So I have three different. So I work chest and back one day. I work biceps, triceps another day, and then shoulders and legs on another day. And so I have 3 different sets of muscle groups, and I give myself 2 days in between to rest those muscle groups. Yes, the hardest part is starting and then keeping that habit. Absolutely. We talked a little bit on the last show about habits and how it can take a while. It can take a month to get a habit fully ingrained. But once you get going, it's going to be great. I'll tell you, there was one, I remember the first time I actually joined a gym, and I got a trainer that he was like, okay, well, I'm going to help you learn how to work out. And I'm like, cool, because I don't really know what I'm doing. And so he helped me out a little bit. And what happened was this, I found out later that this guy was pretty new. And I paid for that because he had me working hard. He's like, come on, man, you can do it. And he just pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. And this is my first day. I hadn't done any working out at all. And then I just like totally went crazy. And the next day I could hardly move. I'm just like, ugh, are you serious? Like, I don't want to do this again. So it's good to work yourself up into that mode. But I'll tell you, I'm proud of you, Baka. I think this is a good thing. And, finding information from great sources is awesome. Like Princess was saying, you'll be able to find resources out there. If you just Google stuff, you can find all kinds of great information. One thing you might ask about if you're trying to get your mile down, at the school you're in, there's probably a track coach. You might just ask them. Just let them know, hey, I'm trying to get my mile down to a certain point. Is there anything you can tell me, any tips you can give me about how to train for that? And I bet you that person would love to share, because really, everybody loves being the expert, right? So you ask them a question about something they know stuff about, they'd be happy to share with you. So I'll tell you, you're on the right track just by having the desire to do it and to move the ball forward in this area. And it's a great area to do it because you're going to feel better. You're going to have more energy, which is weird because we think to ourselves, man, if I work out, I'm going to spend all my energy. But it's weird. You end up getting more the more you do it. It's pretty cool. Baka, you were thinking about joining the track team just to get running in. That works. That might be something to think about. Why not? But anyway, Baka, I'm proud of you. This is a big thing, and you've got some goals, and hopefully some of the stuff that we've said has been helpful for you. Man, thank you so much, and let us know your progress. Keep us updated. So that's awesome. Ryan isn't off planning evil schemes. He might be. What do you think, Kyle? Is he planning evil schemes?
Oh, of course. It's all he does all day long, just evil scheming.
That sounds like the Ryan I know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I don't know if he's got an evil bone in him. To be honest with you, that would be. He's he'll tell you what he's doing if he wants. That's up to him.
Yeah. Right on. Well, awesome. Well, Baka, thanks again for the topic, and thanks for being here. It's great to see you and great to have you. Thanks for also. We're having a little bit of issue with the Minecraft server. We'll get that figured out here hopefully very soon. So we'll get that going. Awesome. So all right. Well, let's get back to our list, shall we? Let's see. Ryan, we're not gonna lie for you. Now everyone knows you evil scheme. Right. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to go back through the list, and if you hear your name, let us know you're here. We'd be happy to do your topic. If you do have a topic, you can go to our website, don'tworrywednesday.com. Click the Submit a Topic button and fill out the form there. You don't even have to put your name on there. You can just totally remain anonymous. That's awesome. And or put it right there in the chat. We'd be happy to do your topic. So the list is Sparrow, Amira, Nihilus, Wandering Soul, Saule, Anonymous, and Logan. And I think I just saw Saule in the chat. I did. Lurk. Saule's lurking. So, not for long, though. We're going to do your topic. It's going to be great. So, this topic is called Holding Back Advice. That's interesting. That's an interesting topic for a show where we give advice. We're going to talk about holding back advice. This could be good. So anyway, I will put this topic up on the screen for you, and you can read along with. Ooh, this is a big one. You're gonna get to see us scroll through this one. It's gonna be great. So anyway, you can read along with Princess while she reads it aloud. Princess, take it away.
This one is about mindset. Here is the situation. I have just gotten a new racing sim and convinced a couple of my friends to play it with me. I have gotten pretty good at sim racing, just by spending lots of time learning to drive faster and better. One of my friends is a real-life race car driver with an 800 HP horsepower race car, and other has had far less time in sim racing, but seems to be faster than me just on his instincts alone. Now, I don't like being the slowest, and when we did a race, I was the fastest, but the race car driver was using a really bad control system, which no doubt slowed him down a lot. And the other friend is just inconsistent. I'm in the middle of college and don't or shouldn't have the time to practice. So here's the problem. I want them both to join me in the simulator so that I can race against people who are similar skilled to me. We're all pretty similar right now, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to fall really far behind in the next few weeks. So I've been tempted to give advice that is goodish, but not the best. Even though I know so many things that could help them drive faster, I could help them get so fast that I would have no chance of keeping up. I guess it's kind of like Ryosuke from Initial D in the later stages of the show, which is cool but frustrating. I want us all to get better, so I should just give them the best advice I can and just try to keep up. I've been doing this, but the temptation to hold their skill level down so that I can keep up is there. How do I get rid of the temptation? The race car driver probably knows way more than me, but this is mostly about the guy who has way less experience than me, but has great natural instincts. And I know that this can apply to basically anything. It can apply to playing guitar or playing a video game, or really games or sports.
Well, thank you, Soleil. This is a great topic, and I totally understand where you're coming from. I know that there have been times when I'm tempted to share, and then I'm scared because I'm afraid they're going to beat me at my own game that I taught them how to do. But it's funny because once you do that a few times and somebody gets better than you find that it's actually a really rewarding experience to know that you helped someone get better than you. And even though they beat you, which can be embarrassing, it still feels good because you know you helped someone succeed. Anyway, I'm going to get out of Kyle's way. Let him have the reins. So Kyle, have at it.
Sure. There's a couple things that kind of stuck out to me in here, but just thinking back to when my brother and I, Ryan and I, we used to play video games together all the time. And, being the older brother, it was unacceptable that I should ever lose anything ever. And there were definitely quite a few times where I took that too far. But and here's the deal. That was never fun when I took things too far. It was always a mistake. And it was way more fun when we were both just having fun just playing the game together, right? Like, I mean,
Ryan's communicating.
Ryan's gonna try and cover for me here. I'm just gonna come out and say it. There's been times where I was just so frustrated, I just hit him with stuff. Take the controller or something, and there he goes. You can't beat me now. And it's and maybe, yeah, that's right. That's why he's evil scheming today. He's got to find some way to. This was his plan. He knew we were doing this question. They have to come out with all this. No, but that wasn't fun. That was just a big mess, right? I mean, neither of us walked away feeling good about the situation. It was just a fight. It wasn't good. We weren't thinking. I don't know what he was thinking, but I know I wasn't thinking about his well-being. I was just thinking about winning, but as I've gotten older, and especially since I have kids and I get to watch them, I have way more fun now watching other people have fun and knowing that they're having a good time, because it's not just this brief dopamine, like adrenaline rush thing. Like, okay, this is fun, this is cool, that happens. You could, do that in a lot of ways. Jump off of something big. It might not be healthy, but you're gonna feel an adrenaline rush on the way down. There's a lot of ways to accomplish that don't involve hurting other people, and when I play more cooperative games, it's just more fun. It's like helping him or helping anybody. Like especially my kids. Half the time it's we play Smash Brothers or something, and yeah, I could practice for about 10 minutes longer and be way better, but I'd rather just goof around, because I don't care. The win isn't what's important. It's having fun with the people around me. And I think that's sort of the same thing. Why do you want to race with them, right? I would imagine because it's fun. And if you have this sort of feeling in the back of your mind that you've brought them down, or maybe misled them, that takes all the fun out of it, even if you win. Because now you have to double down on the lie every time you win, having given false information. And that's never going to feel good. Every time. Every race that you win, having given false information will feel, in a way, bad. It'll feel good when you're in first place, but as soon as you cross the finish line, that's the trade-off. And so, how do you not accidentally, because the temptation's there though, right? Like, I mean, everybody wants to win. Nobody wants to be a loser. But the real win isn't winning in the next 5 minutes. The real win is your whole life. You don't want to win. I mean, it's okay to win now. That's cool, whatever. But what you really want to win is the game of life itself. And that comes from good relationships with those around you. And it doesn't, in destroying those relationships or holding back in those relationships is that's a whole other game that we fail to play if we don't open up and be helpful. So yeah. What was the other thing? I don't remember.
I'm not sure. What was the other thing?
There was another thing that stuck out to me. I am trying to remember. I can't remember what it was. So I'm gonna have to. I'm sure I'll remember as we move forward. But yeah, that's what I got for now.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Kyle. And Saule, thank you for the topic too. There are a couple things that I can think of in this case. As you're tempted to keep someone's skill level down, really the question is why. I mean, I always have to ask myself, why am I wanting to do something? Is it because I'm going to benefit in some way? Is it just because of my pride? Is it because I'm just unwilling to lose? There are a lot of reasons why we might decide to do something. And one of the things, it's fun to be the expert. It's fun to be the person that knows and that can teach and train, and that's wonderful. But it's also fun to learn. And it's even fun to learn from someone that you've taught. I remember when I was a band instrument repairman and I was learning that trade. I was the total noob, right? I didn't know anything, and so I was learning from everybody around me. And it was really interesting. There were probably about a dozen other technicians in this shop. It was a pretty big shop. We worked on a lot of instruments for a lot of school band programs at the time, and so they had quite a few people in this shop, and I was learning from the manager. He was quote unquote my trainer, but I learned little bits from every person in that shop. And what I learned more than anything was that, at least in that field, there are a lot of different ways to get the same results. There are a lot of different approaches you can take to a certain thing and still get good results. And so sometimes you have to take, what works best for you and use that in order to do the best that you can do. But one of the other things I noticed in this shop was that pride was a huge issue with these technicians. And everybody would always tell you, like, you would show what you were doing, the way I learned it from one person, and you'd show it to another person, and they'd be like, oh, no, you don't want to do it that way. You want to do it the way I do it, right? And so everybody was willing to give me lots and lots of information as long as I was willing to listen. But if I came to them to try and explain something that I had learned that might help them, they were really kind of closed off to that idea. They didn't want to hear about it. They were like, well, I know what I'm doing. This is the way I've been doing it forever, and blah, 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 right? We get set in our ways. But here's the thing to remember. You said you're racing against people that are similar skill to me, and I remember somewhere in the topic, you had mentioned that some of these guys just have some really good natural instincts. And that's awesome. But here's one of the things you can do. If you're willing to share information that can help them, and then they get to the point where they're really competitive with you and maybe beating you or whatever, this is a great opportunity for you to then ask them, hey, have you watched what I'm doing? Is there anything that you can think of that I might be able to do better? And then it takes you from the position of trainer to now you're a student again. And that can be a really fun time. And a couple things happen. One, you'll learn some good stuff. Maybe you'll learn some good stuff. But you're going to help them feel good about themselves, because they're going to feel good about helping you succeed. They're going to feel good about being the expert in that case. And maybe they can just give you a little bit of perspective that might just put you over the edge and gain a new level that you never had before. And it can be a really cool thing. I know that, Ryan and I have done that in music. When I first met Ryan, he was pretty young. And he always had, from the time I met him, tremendous, tremendous talent in music and tremendous ability. So he had taken his talent and he had refined it into skill. And what I could do when we first started working together, I knew more about audio production at that time. So I was able to help him in that regard, and we were able to work together and learn some stuff. But the interesting thing was, it didn't take him long before he started doing a lot of these things on his own and learning new tricks that then he could teach me. And so the challenge was, for me, I had to get my mind wrapped around, okay, I'm no longer necessarily the expert all the time. I now no longer have a student in this area, but I have a colleague in this area. And we can trade back and forth ideas. We can trade back and forth techniques, different things we've tried, and some things that have worked and some things that haven't worked. We can share stories. There's all kinds of great things. And your relationship with that person takes on a whole new level. And it can be really, really fun. So I'll tell you, while I know it can be hard to let go of that position as, hey, I know more than I can and I want to hold on to that. You really will hit a new level once you can open that up and say, you know what? I bet they got some things to teach. I'm not the only one who knows some stuff in this game. Like I bet I could learn some stuff from them too. And it can get really, really fun that way. And your friendship will grow in ways you never thought possible. It's a lot of fun. So, um, I've talked for a while. I think I'm wondering if Princess, did you say you had something to say on this topic?
Yes, but only if Kyle hasn't remembered his thing.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Joe covered it.
I have a little bit of input being the younger sibling of two of us. And my sister being very good at video games. And me just having a high amount of luck and a relative amount of good natural instincts, I suppose, if I give myself that. But, we'd often like to play together, If there was co-op or not co-op, playing games was often very fun. However, my sister won a lot, so there was times where I would get upset and, be like, you win all the time, I'd like have to make her let me win, which, wasn't super fun for either of us in that moment, but it was a matter of getting that over so that I'd be like fine with just however the results laid. But, it was also a thing of, learning what your goals are and learning what your goals can be. At least that's what's helped me a lot get over my being a sore loser at times. Because there were times where my sister is like in awe of like me being like, no, you're really good, and I'm like, no, I'm just lucky. I'm like, you're really good, and she's like, yeah, I just experienced, But finding different goals other than winning is the biggest thing that's helped me. Now, you got to be careful with your goals because you want to make sure it's not at the expense of somebody else. And that even goes with winning. You don't want to win at the expense of everyone else playing, I've had one night where we were playing a game called Mexican Train, where it's a bunch of domino tiles and you're meant to make a train of a sequence until you've used up all the tiles in your hand, right? Well, there was some nights where I've won 6 times in a row, and I was trying to not win while still playing within the rules of the game. I did succeed. But I had changed my goals to make it more fun because I was like, it's not fun to win all the time. It's nice to win. Look, I won. I won the game. But when it's kind of like nobody else is winning or, nobody else is having as much fun with it, then they stop playing, So sometimes what you can also make your goals is trying to set challenges. For instance, trying to get second place instead of first place. Even though you can get first place, you fight with somebody, seeing if you can get second place. Or, trying to add other limitations of like in Uno. I tried to make somebody else win in Uno. Now, that wasn't the greatest goal in the world because the person I chose won because of me, and then other people were like upset that I wasn't playing to win myself. So you gotta be careful because, again, other people have their own goals, and you don't want to make the game unfun because you're rigging it. But you don't have to have your sole goal being you have to win. You don't, and you can still have fun doing your best. If it's a Mario Kart type like game, you can try and see, well, can I do this without ever grabbing an item? Or can I do it even though it like the turn before I do something I have to do a weird wacky spin? Or, you can come up with all sorts of other things that could be your goal other than winning. You could even do it where it's a time. Even regardless of the other players, you try to get like 2 minutes on the dot or whatever. Not a second more, not a second less. There's other ways you can go around with not having your sole goal being that you have to win. And I saw that you said When my family plays board games, I now always request that we play co-op games. I always feel like I'm losing while playing competitive games. Racing, it's easy to tell. You're first or you're not. But in board games, I'm always going as hard as possible and often win by a mile when I feel like I'm losing by a lot. And again, part of what I would do is step back while you're playing a game. You know, if you notice that you're feeling nervous about losing by a lot, step back and actually look at the board. Or if you're with someone you trust, like my sister, I would often, I had some of the same experiences. I would be like, oh man, I'm losing by so much. And my sister would be like, no, look, here's your path towards victory. You could easily still win this. You realize that, right? I was like, I didn't realize that up front. But it was learning that, just because you are focused on winning doesn't mean that you have to stay focused on that, or that that has to be the sole reason to play a competitive game. So I think that's really the best that I've got here. So I'm going to turn it back over to Joe and Bro.
Awesome.
Joe and
Sorry,
Bro.
that rhymed. I hope that's okay.
Fantastic.
That was beautiful. No, thank you, Princess. That's a really good point. What if winning didn't have to be your goal? We get so caught up in the victory that,
Mhm.
and I especially like the trying to help another person win, but then everybody else gets upset with you because you're helping them win and not anybody else. That's awesome. Kyle, did you have anything more to talk about on this topic?
Yeah, I just, it's interesting. Princess talking about her being a younger sibling. It's like Ryan, he never fought back when I would get mad at him. He'd just keep doing the annoying thing, which was winning. Um, but no, in all seriousness, a good example of this sort of helping each other out in video games while trying to win is if you look at a lot of speedrunning communities, where the whole goal is to beat a game as fast as possible. And the interesting thing is they're competing against each other. Everybody wants to have that top time slot, or they want to be the first person to do the best possible thing. However, they're all friends and they all share everything with each other. Every time someone comes up with a new, quicker strategy, they tell everybody immediately because they're all running towards the same goal. They all want to be the one to hit that goal, but they all share because they know that they've learned everything they have from the other people who did it first. No one person came up with every strategy for everything. So, when in my daily life, everything I do has been learned basically from somebody else. I look something up online and, oh, look, somebody's done it before. Let's do it that way. It worked really well for them. And just acknowledging that and sort of paying it forward. And a lot of the things we learn in video games, we learned it from somebody else or just from their experience or watching somebody. And it's just sort of like, yeah, we can help them out too. It's not a big deal. And if the goal is, like you were talking earlier about maybe having a slightly different goal than winning, maybe the goal is just to have a really high performance game and the just rush that comes from that and this neck and neck type of experiences. And you're not going to have those if you dominate. So helping them get to that next level, they can push you farther and you'll both get better. I think that's a fantastic situation. And here's the thing too, one of the fears in if I remember in the question was that they would get too far ahead of you because you don't have enough time to practice to keep up with their skill level. I think that what you'll find is if they're that much better than you, then next time you race them, you will learn a lot faster because you'll have a lot more. That gap is going to be bigger, so you should be able to close it in half the time it would have taken you to create that gap in the first place. That makes sense. So, because, if you're going to teach him, they'll come teach you, and then all of a sudden you're learning together, and you're both trying to, do this amazing, in this example, great, fantastic race times. beat track records, not just between you guys, but maybe you start doing as good as some of the top people out there because you've got a really healthy competition. So it's yeah, but check out if you're interested in. I don't know if you have seen too much of the speedrunning community or not, but definitely check it out. Those guys are for the most part pretty awesome at dealing with getting it first and being excited, and then also helping other people get there. So yeah.
That's awesome. You know what you were talking about in the speedrunning community, that reminds me a lot about the community aspect to how we seem to live a lot of areas of our life nowadays. A lot of Twitch streamers have formed communities. I know that I watched some exercise Twitch streams, and what I've found is a lot of those guys are in each other's streams. They're in the chat with each other, and they're just, they're watching each other and encouraging each other and supporting each other. And that's really, really cool. And learning from each other. And it definitely gets interesting because in competition, we always want to win. And I'm thinking in terms of, like in terms of like real life racing, where you have a race car driver, his management team, the owners and everybody there would be really upset if he shared secrets from their team with another team, because that might give them an edge, or that might take away their edge that they had. But it seems more and more in what I'm seeing in society, especially in online communities, there's a lot more camaraderie, and there's a lot more sharing of information. There's a lot more cheering each other on. And that's one thing. If you can learn to find joy in cheering someone else on, that can be so cool and so fun. I remember when I was a senior in high school and I was a captain on the swim team, this really became apparent to me, because now I was in a position where I was, kind of in a leadership role on this team. And so one of my jobs was to encourage and cheer and really help, these kids. And some of them were better than me. In fact, a lot of them were. Come to think of it, I don't know why I was a captain. Might have just been because I was one of the seniors. There were only 3 seniors on the team. And so I got to be a captain kind of by default, right? But I was definitely not the fastest swimmer. I was probably the slowest swimmer of all 3 of the seniors. But one of the things that I learned to do that year was cheer on the freshmen, the sophomores, the juniors, everybody. Even my fellow seniors. It was like, if I can do that, that's great. And here's another thing. If you can also remember to work hard and show that example to your colleagues, to the other people that you're racing with, that can also be inspiring, and you'll feel good about yourself as well. If you put in everything you have, you can't help but feel good about it. It's awesome. It also became apparent to me when I was doing Taekwondo. When you're competing, now here's the thing. You're learning how to fight somebody. And you might get hurt. And your goal is to hurt them before they hurt you. Right? But when we're training, I found there was so much camaraderie there, because, we would, like, for instance, I would fight this other parent, this other dad there, and he was like way taller than me and had way longer arms and legs, and so he could just punch me, and I wouldn't even be close enough to even, get my leg near him, right? And so, but we would encourage each other. Be like, "Oh man, that was a good one. You really, really got me," and we'd be limping around and stuff. But you find that the higher people go, a lot of times the more welcoming they are to new competition and encouraging, and we can all learn from each other. It's really awesome. So anyway, Saule, I mean, I don't know if I have a whole lot more to talk about. It's fun to be competitive, and it's fun to win, and sometimes it's not very fun to lose. And Kyle, you've got kids. I can think of one of your children specifically that might have trouble losing.
Oh yeah.
More than the others, maybe.
Yep. Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. Quite a bit, huh? But I imagine as that child grows, there will be a lot more, leadership becomes a lot of times when someone has that motivation to win, they have a lot of leadership potential. But to really truly lead is to bring others with you. Not to just be dominant. It's fun to totally dominate in a competition, for sure. But also, when you can rally a group and dominate together, celebrate each other's successes, that is way awesome. So I'd encourage you, Saule. Don't hold back. Teach them some stuff. Help them learn. And then celebrate their wins, even if they beat you. You can even let them win for a little while, just to kind of get your feet wet in losing. I've done that before, where I've let people win. And I'm a little bit more relaxed about losing because I let them win, right? But then also, it helps you become accustomed to seeing someone else win and then encouraging them in their win. Soleil says, it's most fun when the race is close, whether I win or not. I can control how close it is by limiting myself if I'm way better. But it's most fun when everyone is pushing as hard as possible. Absolutely. Absolutely. Makes for a good match or a good race or a good game, whatever it is that you're doing. It's way more fun and way more exciting when it's close. And even more fun when you're both trying really hard and it's close. When I did my black belt test and I had to spar with the instructor and he just basically wiped the floor with me, basically pounded me into the mat like over and over and over again. He actually kicked me in the face and my helmet turned sideways, so I was looking out the ear hole of my helmet. That was fun. But yeah, that might not have been as much fun as if it would as if it would have been a closer match. But anyway, so thank you so much for the topic, and hopefully some of that made sense to you. Hopefully you'll be able to gain something. But yeah, you're awesome. And yeah, so we can go on to the next, I suppose, shall we? What do you think?
Yeah.
Kyle's a man of few words sometimes.
Yes.
How's it going, Kyle?
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
You said 3 words. One word twice.
Yeah, no, I just like to encourage everybody, if you haven't or you have an idea of a question or topic, go head over to the new website. Check it out, don'tworrywednesday.com. And we're actually, I don't know if we talked about it earlier, but Joe's been doing some hard work behind the scenes. We've been putting up a couple of videos this last week. We're planning on putting up individual topic videos for all these questions that are covered, and they're going to be cataloged quite nicely, hopefully. on the website to go through and kind of find specific questions or topics that you're interested in searching through. So go check that out, and then submit a topic. I'd like to see as many topics as possible.
Yes.
There is no bad topic.
There is no bad topic.
Unless it's a troll topic. Yeah, we get but those aren't even bad because it's funny. For me, I don't know, maybe not for
you. They're not topics, let's put it that way. Like, what happens when potassium? Thank you, lovely person who submitted that, but that's not a topic. I apologize.
Oh, we can certainly talk about it.
When potassium? Kyle?
When potassium? Boom.
Yeah. Princess, do you have anything to say about when potassium?
When potassium what? What are you putting the potassium in? What is the component of potassium? Is it like potassium chloride or something? Like, I don't know all the compounds that have potassium in it, but I'm curious what they're doing with the potassium, what form it's in, and what they're putting it in.
An existential question.
It really is. It's a scientist's worst nightmare.
The answer is 42.
42 milligrams, 42 grams, 42 kilograms, 42 picograms.
And the answer to that question also is 42.
Ash, I do not know about pregnant tag. I heard some murmurings of this last time and when I was tuning in, and it's a mystery to me.
Ask your brother about it.
Yeah.
What was it? I don't even remember. Ask Joe. You want me to tell him? What was it? They were playing tag, and it was like, tag, you're pregnant.
Oh.
Instead of like, you're it.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Boop. Tag, you're pregnant.
Wow. Interesting.
Man, I'm glad it doesn't really work that way. Holy cow.
Yeah, imagine that.
That'd be something.
It'd be like a plant or something.
Yeah. Everybody'd have families at least as big as yours. Kyle's got an army. Cool.
Yeah. 6 so far.
6 so far. And they're not stopping.
Do they run on their stomachs?
Do they what?
Well, if they're your little army, do they run on their stomachs?
Oh.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys sure play a lot of tag over there. Holy cow.
Oh, they do. Yeah. A lot of running around here.
That's fun. They are a riot to hang out with too, I got to tell you. I've been over there a handful of times recently. It's been great. But all right, so I'll go through the list again here and we'll see what we come up with. On the list we have Sparrow, Amira, Nihilus, Wandering Soul, Anonymous, and Logan. And if you just heard your name, with the exception of Anonymous, because that's probably not your name, would love to do your topic. If nobody's here, then we may
we do have a red one.
I would do Anonymous then.
We have Anonymous, and we have that other one that's time sensitive, so we could do either of those.
Depending on how fast we go, both.
Oh, we do both.
We could speed run.
Probably not. Not at this point. We've talked too long.
Speed running topics.
Oh, I can be extremely concise. We can get through these.
Kyle is a man of few words.
You will not get good answers, but we can get them.
And here we like quality over quantity.
That's great.
Some argue whether or not we have either of those.
So I'm going to spin the wheel. Princess, tell us which topic to do.
Let's do anonymouses.
All right. Anonymous's topic. Let's that. All right. And let's get that up here. I tell you, now I have all these extra chores to do during this show. It's great. But all right. So we have a topic. This is from Anonymous, and it's called Unintentionally Sounding Creepy. I like the sound of it already. But anyway, I will put it up on the screen, and you can read along while Princess reads it aloud. Princess?
I'm a guy, and I don't have any girlfriend or significant other. I often feel like I'm going to come off as creepily to girls regardless of context. Whether it be in person or over the internet, I feel like I'm going to come off creepily. It's even worse when I'm mildly interested in the girl that I'm interacting with, and sort of feeling them out regarding that interest. The only time I don't feel afraid of coming off creepily is when there is no thought of anyone being interested in the other and the interactions are completely online. So, how does one act naturally and not creepily? From Anonymous.
That is a really good question. I know that I've felt that way myself, where I've been wondering if I'm coming off as creepy or what, and it can be harder online because they don't have your facial expressions, they don't have eye contact. We say a lot through body language and eye contact, and when we're just lines of text across the screen, it's a lot easier to get the wrong idea if we're not careful. So, one person that I know who has never come off creepy to anyone is Kyle. And so he, at least in my experience, and I've known you a long time. I've known you man, we're getting close to 20 years knowing each other.
Yeah, it's getting there. Getting close.
Yep. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Kyle, and he's going to tell you how to not be creepy because he's good at it. So, Kyle?
Well, yeah, in 10 more years, right? It'll be we'll have known each other longer than you'll have been alive.
I know. That's great.
So that's
I'm still
cool.
29.
Right.
I'm gonna be 29 1 year longer, and like Jono reminded me that my birthday's in like 13 days or something. I'm gonna be 29 again. It's gonna be great.
That's awesome.
So how do you not be creepy? Teach me.
How do you not be creepy? My kids, it just reminds me of my kids a little bit because they have this interesting idea of, they don't really know what the word creepy means, but recently they've been calling everything creepy. And so even like they might mean cute, they might mean cuddly, they might mean whatever. It's just everything. It's just a fun word for them right now. And so it's really funny because at Christmas someone had gotten this like stuffed bear, and then she was running around. It's so creepy. It's so creepy.
That's awesome.
That was pretty funny. Kat, this was anonymously submitted on the website. So we have no way, unless they reveal themselves, who submitted this. I mean, we don't log IP addresses, nothing. So this was completely anonymous. And if they want, yeah. So, no, but talking about the actual creepiness, what's interesting? Different things are creepy to different people. And especially online, there's a lot of, I'll say, projection from whoever you're talking to. If I talk to somebody who's having a good and they're in a fun, joking mood, they think everything I'm saying is hilarious over the text. It's just funny, ha ha ha, And then I could say the exact same thing to somebody who is maybe having a bad day, and they will think that I am somehow also having a bad day. or maybe I'm doing something. An interesting example of this. I used to work fast food in the drive-thru, and people would come through and they'd say something as simple as, "I'd like a cheeseburger, please." And then somebody behind me who's having a bad day would say something like, "Oh, they got an attitude with that one." It's like they asked for a cheeseburger and they said, "Please." I don't understand.
What a jerk.
You just didn't want to make a cheeseburger. That's got nothing to do with that. So one thing, you can never really guarantee how somebody else is going to think about you or respond to you. Especially when you can't see somebody's face. Because it's just going to, there's that personality of what they're going through in life that's going to inject itself into the conversation, whether or not it has anything to do with you or not. And so part of the solution is probably just to try not to worry about it. Because more often than not, they're not thinking about it either. I mean, they're going to be more concerned with how you feel about them in most cases. Especially if you're having a conversation. Now, these people that I referred to, like upset about someone ordering a cheeseburger, they're not interacting with the customer, right? They're just hearing it and they're having their own conversation. They would never say that to a customer's face because they don't want to get in a fight. And, they're worried about what that customer would think of them. So when you're in a conversation with somebody, a large part of conversing is understanding that what we do isn't necessarily as big of a deal to the other person as what they're doing is to them. If that makes sense. They're more concerned with themselves. And as far as creepiness goes, man, it's so hard these days to know what somebody's going to find creepy. A lot of it, how much anxiety does this person have? I know some people with a lot of anxiety might think that every single person who sends them a message online is a creep.
Mm-hmm.
Just from the fact that they sent a message. Automatically, that's what bucket you're in. You're done. Nothing you can do about it. For other people, like, I guess on the opposite side, I don't recall ever thinking anybody was creepy for having sent me a message online. I just can't. I can't think of any time that's happened. Now, to be fair, I haven't had a lot of people messaging me online. But at least lately, back in the day though, when I used to play a lot of, MMOs and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I never really experienced that feeling of creepiness. So I think mostly it's going to be a matter of just trying not to worry about it. If they're going to be thinking you're creepy, then they were going to anyways. And there's really no control that we can have over that. It's just kind of like, that's what they want to do, let them. And there's sort of like, you said the only time that I'm not going to quote you perfectly, but the only time that it's not a problem is when sort of like you don't care how the relationship goes. It doesn't really matter a whole lot. And I would say treat the relationships you care about the same way. Because if they're good relationships and they're healthy relationships, then they will be good and healthy on their own. If there's a relationship where you have to try to hide some part of yourself to make it them like you, then you're automatically in a bad relationship because you're not having a relationship with them. You are faking it. And that having that lie becomes harder and harder to perpetuate. Not that I don't want to call you a liar for, being apprehensive, but don't hide yourself. Even if it has a potential to come across creepy. if you are creepy to them, then they'll probably, not talk to you anymore, and that's okay. It'd be nice if you weren't creepy to them, and that's 90% of the time what's going to happen. You're not going to come off as creepy because they're not creepy. And like I said, they're going to inject themselves into the conversation and into what you are thinking and you are feeling. So unless they have super high anxiety, I don't think you have a lot to worry about. And if they do, then you can approach it a little more gently, and then just try not to be super personal until they're ready to open up to you. Once they open up to you, then you're good. You've got a good relationship. So, yeah. Acting naturally is just that. Act like your natural self. Just be you. You're awesome. Whether the other person, that specific person, thinks so or not. So, yeah. What do you think, Joe?
I think that's very true. Being authentic is important. Be the authentic you. I also like, Kat had a few things in the chat here. Kat says, knowing what specifically is coming off as creepy does help. Like as an example, when a customer specifically older men start bringing up my age and how young I look, it's absolutely a red flag to me. Quickly get that customer out of the way. It's always a leeway to being super weird to me. And I can definitely understand where you're coming from there. Anything we say that might make someone uncomfortable could always come off as creepy. If we start prying into somebody's personal life, that can be seen as creepy. So a lot of times you can gauge by reading their responses or listening to their responses. You'll be able to see, maybe I've gone a little bit too far here. But really the key is what Kyle was talking about, that you should really just be yourself. I know a handful of people that are afraid of everything and are worried about everything and are anxious about everything. And they're exactly like what Kyle talked about there, that if they send a message to anyone online in a chat, they're automatically creepy. It's like, really? Interestingly enough, these same people had gone to a church and really respected the pastor of this church. The pastor turned out to be, like having affairs and stuff like that, and it was crazy. But it's like, okay, sometimes even in real life situations, we don't necessarily always get a good read on someone. But we don't get to control that in another person. We can only control ourselves. And if you are being authentic, and if you're just being yourself, and you can just relax, and rather than be really, really super concerned about how you are perceived, be concerned about who you really are. Like in your heart. Are you being genuine? Are you being authentic? Do you really want to get to know this person? Because, like what Kyle was saying, we tend to project what we're thinking or what we're feeling and everything. We tend to project that on another person. I've done that before too. When, and I have to really be careful when I'm going through times when I'm really stressed. Because there are times when I'm really stressed out and maybe I'm starting to get a little bit angry. And like Kyle was saying, it doesn't matter what somebody might just say, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'll be like, "What do you mean?" Like, I was just saying hi, man. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, you know, it's pretty wild. But we tend to do that. And it's easier to do online, especially because what we're looking at are just lines of text. We're looking at, words on a screen, and we don't have a whole lot of context necessarily until we have a conversation with these people. But we definitely put ourselves at a disadvantage and at a disservice the more self-conscious we are, the more self-focused. So while it's good that you're asking this question, Anonymous, it's good that you're asking, how do I come off as not being creepy? The answer really is, in your heart, don't have any ulterior motives. Don't have any motives of trying to get this person in some way, or, get one over on this person, or convince them of something that you're not, or whatever. Just be you, be genuine, relax, be yourself. And the more you can do that, the more you can be yourself and relax and just be comfortable in your own skin, the more you will be perceived as just genuine. And then, like Kyle was saying, there are going to be people who just automatically think you're creepy just because of what's going on in their lives. So you probably won't avoid it fully. Somebody out there is going to think you're a creep. There are lots of people out there that think I'm weird. That's fine. I don't mind. I've come across people that they caught me in a really bad moment with a whole bunch of other people. I can remember this one specific incident that involved a couple of cars. And this person really, really thought I was a jerk and I was stupid and held this against me for years. And it wasn't necessarily that I had maliciously done anything wrong. It was an accident. Right? But automatically, I was perceived by this person as a jerk, as basically a stupid jerk that was trying to mess up their day. And the circumstances really defined what they thought of me. And I have no control over that. That person's never going to be my best friend. But you know what? Okay. I mean, sometimes stuff happens like that. So, but we do the best we can. And sometimes we fail. Sometimes we make a mistake. And that's another key thing here. Be okay making a mistake. Don't be so caught up in trying to not say the wrong thing that you don't open yourself up to the opportunity. Because it'll happen. You're going to trip over your words sometime. Sometime you're going to be saying something, you're going to think it's going to be really funny. And it's going to come off as rude or arrogant or creepy. You might have meant it as a joke and they didn't take it as a joke. And that can be a tough moment. But if you can understand that it's okay, life will go on, the world will keep spinning, and it becomes a learning experience for you, then maybe you won't have to fear it so much. And that could be pretty cool. So, I don't know how much else I have. But like Kyle was saying, be yourself. Kyle, did you have anything else? Go ahead,
Yeah,
Amos.
I mean, there's some undertones in this question that perhaps a lot of this might have to do with finding a girlfriend.
Mm.
And I don't know if that's the case or not, but I'll just address it,
I can
you
give you the
know, a
answer to
little
that
bit.
easily.
Yeah,
Don't.
I know. Yeah. I mean, and that's basically a good answer, right? I mean, um, not because girlfriends are bad,
They aren't.
but I think that the pursuit of that other person will come naturally, and forcing your way into a relationship is never optimal, right? It can happen, it can work, but there's a certain level of natural progression in a relationship. If a relationship starts with, I don't know you at all, let's go on a date, and then tomorrow let's get married, right? Like that's kind of like really forced to the
Mm.
max. And you can clearly see how that's, and then that's probably not going to work out. On the others, flip it over a little bit. Don't every girl that you meet or every boy or whatever isn't there might be potential there. Um, but just because they're the opposite gender doesn't mean that that should be the intention. The intention should be a good friend. Let's develop a personal relationship. And if that relationship develops into something else, then it can move forward. And it's going to be a mutual development, right, on both sides, and where that kind of goes. And if you're upfront with each other, um, then it can be a relatively smooth process. There's this idea of being friend zoned. I don't think this exists. It's totally okay to be somebody's friend and then move into the next stages of your life. The only reason that exists is because of Hollywood.
Hmm.
In real life, friends can move through that past. They can move past it. There are I know that sometimes there's anxiety about, well, I don't want to wreck the friendship and this kind of thing or that, but when it's time and it's evident that that's happening, there's really no stopping it anyway, right? It's just going to happen, and it'll happen naturally. I mean, that's my opinion. Could be wrong, but I mean, just the relationships I've seen, it seems to be a healthy, good way to go about it. If you meet someone of the opposite sex, or whatever you're interested in, you can pursue it. But if that's your goal, then yeah, it could come across creepy because you might be moving a little too fast for the person. But if your goal instead is, you know, more like what they used to do, long, years and years ago, is sort of like courting, where you just basically are friends, maybe go and do a few things here and there, see if you're still interested, do a few more things. You're not immediately in a relationship. You're just checking each other out. I think that's a little bit more of a appropriate way to approach the situation, and then maybe that could help too. You don't have to be all concerned with whether or not right now they want to be your boyfriend or girlfriend. You can worry about that later. First thing, let's be friends. See where that goes. Because you might find out that they're a really good friend that you want to keep as a friend, but it turns out that you really don't want to take it any farther than that for whatever reason. And it's better to find that out in that way instead of being in a relationship, a more serious relationship first, because that's always a more emotional, harder breakup down the road. So, yeah.
That's right. I appreciate Kyle a lot. I love Kyle. You know what? He's friend zoned. In my book. And I'll tell you another thing. If you want, like, honestly, relationship advice, you're listening to a really good person in the bro man up here. Successfully married, played lots of pregnant tag, got 6 kids. And I admire the way I've watched him mostly from a distance because we tend to not live close to each other. But I've seen him and his wife work through issues. I've he's told me stories about things that they've gone through. And really, I mean, you guys started off as friends, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they got to know each
Yeah,
other?
we yeah, we started off as friends for we met at a summer camp. And we just were chatting, after we had each other's emails, so we chatted online for years. And
Yeah, and now she's in the
I,
chat
I
too.
want to say, yeah, and she's here right now. It's Diana, that's my wife. I want to say I couldn't tell you exactly how many years, but it was probably 5 years of us chatting with each other before either of us acknowledged we were in more than just a friend relationship. And that is a long time. But it worked out fantastic. I can't complain. There is no need to rush into a relationship more than it needs to be gotten into. It feels like we should be rushing, but it's not necessary. I mean, seriously, we had thousands of conversations online as friends, and obviously halfway through there was this like, this might be more, but neither of us wanted to admit it. We just kept going on doing our thing, and eventually it was just like, yeah, this is what it is. And I never asked her to be my girlfriend or anything. It just turned into, I don't know if that's right or wrong. I never asked her to marry me either.
You
I don't
didn't?
know if that's right or wrong. No, not really.
What
I
happened?
mean,
You guys just ended up married one day?
oh,
I mean, I was
it
there that
was,
day.
yeah, it's the day, yeah, we just showed up and then they were marrying people. We just, No, it's a fun kind of it's an interesting thing. We didn't really, we did a lot of regular stuff. I mean, we just had been together for so long, and we had talked about what marriage would be like, and we were just finally at a point where I just said, hey, we could actually kind of do this financially if we wanted to, and she was like, yeah, we could, so we started planning it, and that was basically it.
There was no like
Um,
romantic, like down on one knee
no.
proposal, all that stuff.
Oh, not really. No. I mean, I think a lot of the conversation happened on a beach. That particular, so that's kind of romantic, I suppose. But no, it's just it's interesting. At any rate, I think we put a lot of, society puts a lot of stock and faith into what we see in Hollywood. And if you look at the track record of relationships in Hollywood,
Hmm.
you can see how well their ideas work. So that's kind of my philosophy on that.
I would agree with that. And even if I didn't, I would trust his judgment over mine. For sure. But yeah, so Anonymous, relationships are interesting. That's for sure. But you got to hear some great answers from someone who's been very successful in relationship. I love you too, Diana. You're awesome. It's funny. The first time I met Diana, it was great because she thought I was stealing her boyfriend. Because Kyle and I had gotten to be good friends. We were in business together and doing stuff. We were having a good time. And then first time I met Diana, she's awesome. She's always been awesome, right? But oh wait, romantically, what are you talking about?
No, not romantically. Just
Bromantically.
yeah.
We had serious bromance going on, right? But it was cool. Excuse me.
Well, it's one of those things. That's we could talk about that for a second, actually, because that's interesting. You can have a situation. It's I think should be okay with me saying it's just a little bit of a jealousy thing, right? Where you see like you've got this relationship and now here's another person that's going to steal that other person's time from you a little bit, and it's like, is this going to affect our relationship? And I want to spend that time with him, and he's going to go do this other thing, and yeah, that can be tough. But the nice thing is we've learned that it's okay to have and spend time with lots of friends, and that doesn't detract from relationships you already have, because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes spending even a little bit time away gives you more to talk about when you're back together. That can be good too.
That's awesome. Kat, who isn't jealous of Joe?
Right?
I'm not jealous of Joe. But I get to be Joe. So, that's awesome. But you know what, Kyle? I really appreciate your insight on this, because you're so right. There's all this pressure to, push for relationship, and the whole friend zone idea, has been really kind of blown out of proportion. It really only makes sense in Hollywood, like you were saying, or in the modern hookup culture, or whatever, where it's like, okay, what is your goal? To get to know this person, or is your goal to just
Yeah.
get this person? Right? I remember my kids were listening to a Michael Jackson song, and there was Michael Jackson, and I think Chris Tucker, the actor. There was this little snippet at the beginning of this song where it's like, you ain't gonna get this girl, I'm gonna get that girl. No, you can't get that girl, I'm gonna get that girl. Watch me, and all this kind of stuff. And my kids were thinking it was great, and I was just like sitting there. I was like, here's a teachable moment, because they're like, isn't that funny? I'm like, well, it is funny, but it's really, really wrong. And like, what are you talking about? I'm like, is a girl a thing for you to get or for you to have? No, that's a person. You don't get a person, you get to know a person. Maybe you get to love that person. Maybe you get to fall in love with that person. But all these things are built on getting to know you for who you are. Right? Like what we were just talking about being authentic, about being real. Because if you, and I love what Kyle said at the very beginning, where he was like, if you have to hide something of yourself, then that's automatically not a good friendship. Automatically not a good relationship. If you have to be something you're not, then yeah, automatically. So it can be repaired. It can be improved. It's not like all is lost. But in that moment in time, because you're not being authentic, you're not really being a good friend at that point. And you're kind of being a creep. So the best way to not be a creep is be you. Because then you're not hiding anything, and then you're not creepy. You think of a creepy person, they're like lurking in the shadows, right?
Well, and another thing is, don't push yourself upon somebody. Forgive me for just jumping in here.
No, please do.
I don't have a lot of experience being creepy, since most people don't say that about me unless I'm intentionally trying to sound kind of creepy. But
You're
that's
like the
if I'm trying.
anti-creepy.
It's only if I'm trying to like sing a song that's meant to be like Halloween spooky, then I can kind of ish, because I can sound like a doll or something. But no, there's been times where I've had conversations with people and they've kind of pressed their own impressions onto me and it's pushed me away. There was one guy who liked me, and so we were eating lunch together, and it was like, all that, and I was, giving it a shot for whatever that means. But, I was eating like a peanut butter sandwich. And then he was like, "Oh man, yeah, but if you do that, then we can't kiss." I'm like, "Wait, what? I'm eating my lunch." Like,
how do we get from here to kissing already? Like, wait.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get to know you. Forget, and I know that there was no harm meant, but that was like, okay, nope, if you want to go that far, I'm not there yet, and you're not really respecting my boundaries here. And there was another friend that I had who was very kind and sweet, but was kind of like, hey, are you gonna move up to be near me, or are you going to like move in with me, or like should I plan for that? And I'm like, no, that's definitely not the stage of our relationship. I treasure you as a friend, but I don't like that you're trying to push something like that. Like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and if that were the case, you would know because I'll tell you that I'm thinking of something like that. Um, it's very kind of you, I suppose, to try and include me, but that is not a plan I wish to be included in, at least at this time. Uh, so, you know, some of it's don't try and tell people what they're doing for themselves. If that makes any sense. I don't think I said that right sentence-wise, but I think the point is still there of, you want to encourage a person to talk to you and you want to engage them in a conversation where they're responding. You don't want to put words in their mouth or try and preemptively get them to be doing something that they're maybe not even interested in or that you don't know. It's better to ask in a more neutral way than to have it be pointed towards them having a certain type of answer, if that makes sense.
Yes, don't be fishing for responses. Or, like you said, putting words in their mouth. That's a good plan. Jester says, what if I naturally exude creepy aura? Well, then if you're being absolutely genuine and authentic and you have that little bit of creepiness to you, then you're probably actually not creepy. And Kat says, I haven't been told I'm creepy, but I've definitely been creeped out. Kat called plenty of times. Creepy customers who mistake my customer service voice for flirting. People are weird and gross. I agree. And, well, I haven't been cat called, but people are definitely weird and gross.
Yep.
There's a lot of creepiness out there. There's a lot of weird and grossness out there, for sure. But really, the key is just be you. Just be you. Be authentic. The best way to do it. But anyway, thank you so much, Anonymous, for that topic. Thank you for, putting yourself out there. We appreciate you giving us something to talk about. And this is really important because a lot of times, especially in the online communities, it's really easy to not be genuine or authentic. Now, that doesn't mean you have to share your life story with everyone or everything about yourself all at once or, even get into that. You can take it little bits at a time, but get to know people gradually and enjoy that process because it can be really fun. And also, Julian, I saw in the chat earlier, you said, random question, is there a Don't Worry Wednesday podcast like on Spotify? There is actually. It's very, very old episodes from what we released a handful of years ago. I think they were like from 2018. I think, or no. Yeah. 18, 19, something like that.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a handful of episodes on there. I don't know if they're gonna go away, if we're gonna keep them on there. Excuse me, but we are planning on taking these individual topics and making it into a podcast. We're just not quite there yet. We're getting our website up. We're getting individual topics on YouTube. We're getting all that kind of stuff put together. And then the next step, so hopefully maybe in a week, we'll start releasing them on podcasts. So they'll be on everywhere. They'll be on Spotify and Stitcher and Apple and Google and everywhere. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can find our podcast, except for maybe Podbean, because they're weird. Sorry, my brother really likes Podbean. He's like, "Are you going to be on Podbean?" I'm like, "No, we were on Podbean, but they had like this whole exclusive thing and whatever, so we switched service providers or whatever, and so then, and because that switch happened, then we're no longer allowed to be on Podbean." Or something. There was some kind of weird thing. Maybe it's different now. Maybe we will be. But yeah. Oh, cool. Julian, you would like to post a topic, but do not know when I'll be able to hear your response. That's okay. Oh, but don't know. That's totally fine. And even if you want to let us know in your topic or in there somewhere and just be like, hey, just do this whenever, and then really, it's going to become more and more of that, because since we're planning on releasing every individual topic as its own video on our website, everybody will be like, you'll get to hear your topic. We do like to have you here just in case we need to ask questions, and we like to interact with you in the chat and stuff like that. But if you don't have a problem with that, you can put it in there, and we'd be happy to just do it and then post it, and then you can listen to it when you're ready, whenever you're available. So yes, the answer is yes. We will be putting these out in podcast form very, very soon. It should be pretty cool, I think. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. Kyle, do you have any closing remarks? Words of wisdom?
No, I mean, I guess I'll just a few tips. If you want to be here for your topic, submit it like right before the show. That's going to give you the best chance, or that way it doesn't end up you're not going to be able to make it. Like maybe an hour before the show, that'll give us time to go in and sort through them. We can do some of them live. It's just hard to do a lot of them live because it does take time to sort through kind of what's going on. But if you do it like a day, but if you're pretty sure you're going to be there, put it in, and then, say something. We're going to work through, these in a logical form. So hopefully, and then if you do miss it, just keep an eye on the website. You'll see your name pop up there if you put your name, or you'll see anonymous pop up there if you put anonymous. Mm-hmm. So either way, and then you can just look at those. You'll know when it's your question because you can read it. Yes. Right in there.
And Ash, since you're here, I'm going to ask you, before you leave, real quick, are you offended by the picture we put up for your post? We were wondering about that. We put a picture, we had the picture of the gal and the horse. Because we were like, it's kind of like, sharing your information online. You don't really know. It's like, okay, they could be a horse. I don't know.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, head over to the website and just scroll down that main page. You'll see the topics down there.
Yep. Yep. Ash's topic has a gal with a horse, and they're sharing a carrot. An amazing thing. But anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for the topics. Thanks for the lively chat. You guys are awesome. And we'll see you guys next week. And keep an eye on the website, don'tworrywednesday.com. You'll see these topics trickle out as we get them completed. And you can always submit a topic. Just hit that submit a topic button. A little form will pop out. You can fill it out. And we'd be happy to do your topic. Yeah, yes. I'm glad you enjoy it. Oh, I love you too, Saiki. You guys are awesome. So thank you guys so much for being here. We will see you next week on Don't Worry Wednesday. Until then, have a great, great life. You guys are awesome. Take care.
See ya.